Time for another stock review. This time we're talking Lucid. In this review, you're going to get to the most honest review. I'm not in the stock. I only own the S&P. I'm going to share with you the information from Lucid's own website. We're talking about the recent pay increase for Peter Rawlinson. Can you justify it? Is it right? Well, we'll discuss that on the show as well. Also, in the making of this video, you're going to see the balance sheet, the profit and loss of the company. Let me share with you all the information here, the intrinsic value, who's buying on the inside, who's selling on the inside, the financials. We're going to give you a solvency score. We're going to give you a solvency score. We're going to give you a profitability score for you to make an informed decision whether this is right to buy this stock or not. We got some news with Peter Rawlinson. A lot of views. We do rank at number one on the stock, LCID, Lucid stock on YouTube. So we do have a lot of people who like to put their opinions and thoughts to this company. So I'd like your thoughts on it. Is it a place to make money, or is it purely a place for Peter Rawlinson to pay himself an extortionate amount of money? He's actually one of the highest paid CEOs in the world. Can we justify this? Does it all make sense? If we look over at the numbers, can it really make sense? Well, we're going to find out now. We're going to start off by looking at Lucid in a basic form and get a bit more detailed as we go down. So please do smash the like button if you like honest reviews. Remember, I don't own the stock. I only own the S&P. Nobody sponsored or pays me, and I do get offered money all the time to promote stocks. I never take it. It's not for me. I'm here to build the best, most honest channel on YouTube TV, not the biggest, and it will become the biggest by being the best, most honest. And all of my reviews make their way onto AlphaSpread's website, the most advanced algorithmic software platform in the world. It's what I use, and they cover all of my reviews. They handpick a few from CNBC, Bloomberg, Mad Money, and others, Motley Fool. But mine, they post all of them because they like the honesty in them of them. Okay. So Lucid, without doubt, make one of the best cars in the world. But are they one of the best car companies in the world? Well, let's start off basic and then go through the numbers. Lucid manufactures electric vehicles. It designs, develops, and builds electric energy storage systems for electric vehicles and supplies automakers with the battery pack system needed to power hybrid, plug-in, and electric vehicles. The company was founded in December 2007. It's headquartered in California. The listed name is Lucid, LCID. Now then, 7,200 employees. And of course, Peter Rawlinson is famous for being one of the highest paid CEOs in the world. I think on the New York Stock Exchange, I think. And I think it's something like the fourth or the fifth highest paid. So how can he justify his pay when the car company loses $500,000 every time it sells a car? And only today, in fact, a couple of days ago, he's been approved for another pay rise. Here it is. Lucid CEO Rawlinson to get a $6 million bonus over electric SUV launch. Can you believe it? Yep, let's cover that news. This is the information. Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson will get a $6 million bonus related to the company's launch of electric SUV in November. $500 million a year he pays himself. Remember, if he didn't actually pay himself this much, the stock could be bought back, the company could earn more money, and the stock price would be far higher than it is today. Just the numbers, and we're going to come on to the numbers in a few minutes to back that up. The Newark, California-based luxury vehicle maker disclosed in a regulatory filing on Thursday that its board has approved the cash bonus in recognition of his significant contributions to the milestone achievement. Now, let's get absolutely clear before anyone leaves any comments below. I'm not in any way whatsoever biased on this stock. It makes no difference to me whether the stock goes up, down, or left, or right, sideways, or anything. It doesn't even matter whether you watch my video or subscribe to my channel. I just want the most honest information put out there. It makes no difference to me either way. When we've covered the earnings, which we have many times for Lucid, Peter Rawlinson has been famously quoted to say, doesn't matter about selling cars, it's about building a brand. I don't think there's a clue what he's talking about. He's also said that the car is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's quoted that on recent earnings as well. And that is absolutely ridiculous. He sees the car as a Formula One car. Well, that's great. It might be the greatest car in the world. There's no doubt about it. It's a great vehicle. And there's no disputing that. You won't hear me make that argument. But there's no doubt about it. If the company lose $500,000 because you've not been able to ramp up or sell any, and let's get that straight as well. There are many of these cars sat on lots unbought, and they can't sell the used ones because they are coming down in price. Nobody will pay the price. So it's all very well the CEO saying it's worth $200,000 and it's an amazing car and everyone should buy one. But the fact of the matter is only you can afford one because you've got all the money. So it doesn't make any sense. However, he now gets a bonus. Now, round this stock, unfortunately, because I've been covering this stock now for a couple of years, listening into all the earnings, listening to all the numbers, and also hearing all the false news. Unfortunately, this is one of those stocks which has sadly joined company with the worst EV car company in the world, Mullen, who was built to be a scam stock. That CEO has taken about 4 or 5 businesses down the toilet. Looks like on purpose, Dave Mitchery, just to lose money and for the shareholders and make money for himself. I don't know how they get away with it. Unfortunately, the same investors are in Lucid. Lucid might be a great car, but it's not a great car company, and the investors it keeps are not that great either. I know this because I read all the comments, excuse me, that gets sent to my accounts, my social media, and a lot of false information. We've had all kinds of news about Saudis and people going to buy the stock and inject capital. None of that's come true. But what we have seen is many false rumors, false statements made, a pump in the stock, drop in the stock. All I know is the stock keeps losing money. It keeps going down, and doesn't matter what anyone says, the stock keeps losing money. It's absolutely awful. It's now a penny stock. It literally is a penny stock. If it goes much lower, it'll be in danger of being delisted. And this is a car company who has one of the highest paid CEOs in the world. Can you believe it? Right, now this might sound quite biased towards Lucid so far. Well, it isn't. It's just the facts. But unfortunately, not everybody wants to hear the facts. They want me to say everything's great. Well, it isn't great. But let's look at the numbers and let's see if it all adds up. And then we'll be fair, and we'll compare it, and we will look at the S&P 500 and Tesla. You can see there. We'll do all of these things in this review. So whether you like it or not, please do tap the like button. I'd love to get your thoughts on this video, and please leave a comment below as well. Subscribe to the channel and tap the like button. That would be absolutely great if you could do that. All right, let's carry on with the review, and let's now go and look at the numbers, okay? Now, before we go into the serious numbers, let's look at it from a basic point of view. If you were buying it on margin, you'd be paying 50% margin. So it's regarded as relatively high risk, not maximum, but mid-range risk, nothing to do with being cheap or comfortable or whatever. Very volatile, very expensive at this level. Average volume, 27 million. A lot of volume in the stock. We've had a 52-week low of $2.54. It was very close to being delisted there. Not that far away at all. 52-week high, $10.95. How does the CEO get a bonus when the stock is virtually at the level of being delisted? I have no idea. I can't work it out. Price earnings ratio, it's losing money, $2.69. If we scroll down here and look to what Morningstar say, again, I wouldn't use this review. They are paid to say what they want. They're saying it's a hold, 79%. No one's saying buy it though. Why is no one saying buy it? I thought it was cheap. No one wants to buy it. You might even consider selling it at this level. Again, their reviews are biased and paid. So again, you see, I'm not all against Lucid. This here is very much against Lucid. They're not saying buy it at this level. They're saying sell it at this level, but they're also saying hold as well. But again, I'm not going off that. I'll go off my real numbers, which come up in a minute. We've seen no growth at all in the earnings. This are the facts. These are the numbers. Just going straight across, losing money. No growth here at all. None at all. Zero. We've had a slight growth here recently, but it's just making up for what it was earlier. Where are we going next? Well, we get the review tomorrow night. The earnings tomorrow night. February the 21st, tomorrow, after hours. Will we get a good earnings tomorrow? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. I'll try and cover the Lucid earnings tomorrow night. We do have several to cover, though. I will try and cover it if we get a lot of comments to this video and you ask me, I might do it. Who's it in bed with? Who are we buying the shares with? Rivian? Well, Rivian just follows Tesla, I'm afraid. NIO, Chinese manipulation, ChargePoint, Fisker, FSR, and FSR is down on its luck at the moment. Now, that one has a lot of negative, bad news. We've got some big YouTubers spreading vastly exaggerated, very biased, very manipulated reviews about the stock. So that one's getting a lot of bad press, not necessarily validated, however. Nikola, well, we've got the CEO, the founder in prison. We've got a board being replaced. Absolutely terrible company at the moment. It's got potential, and the balance sheet's okay, but the board are all in disarray, and there's founders in prison, and the whole lot. Awful state right now. Plug Power, well, another great company, but surrounded by Russian oligarchs, a lot of false information, a lot of aggression. I've seen it on my channel. They come in and manipulate videos, sponsor videos, trash the numbers when I talk bad about Plug. Terrible, terrible. I see it firsthand. So let's now go into Lucid's numbers. Is it all bad? Is this company all bad? Well, valuation is 40% undervalued. If you like, at where it is now, 40% undervalued. Does that mean you should be buying it at $3.67? Because the base case is saying it's worth $6. Hardly where it was a year or so ago, around $30. But Tesla's also dropped. So in balance, maybe it's just the EV sector. Well, let's dig a bit deeper. So we've got $6.03 is the base case. However, before you run out and say, right, I'm going to buy this, get your credit card out, Jordan Smith, and line up to buy this stock and think it's going to print money. Let's look at some facts. The facts are very, very plain to see. It does look cheap, but the Lucid's intrinsic value is only using multiples and doesn't use DCF valuation because of the lack of numbers we've got coming out of the company. We can't value it correctly. Maybe that's the idea. We can't value it because there is no real value at the moment. So it appears to be cheap, and some people would look at that and go, well, it must be cheap. However, it's not being bought at the moment. So that isn't accurate. You can't use that as a guide. You can't use that as a go signal. It's a guide, but there is much more information we need. Let's scroll down. Let's run a back test, see if we can do that. Let's run a back test in real time. You can see the profit is down 31%, average valuation negative 65%, and correlation 18%. So there we go. What about looking at the latest earnings? Well, we'll get some more information tomorrow night. This was on the Q3 earnings. Lucid, riding on technological advancements, partnered with Aston Martin. Wonderful, wonderful car, no doubt about it, reflecting its technological strengths. But it would suggest to me, and as I've been saying for a long time, this whole thing with Peter Rawlinson literally taking all the money out of the company, I would absolutely say it's not a good place for an investor. It's going private. My belief is it's going private. It's designed to go private, and the shareholder will get nothing. That's what I think. So far, let's carry on with the numbers. Reflecting its technological strengths and market recognition. Vehicle production increased to 1,550 units in Q3, with deliveries up 4% from Q2. There's no growth here at all. 4% is rubbish if you look at it over the last few years, how Tesla ramped up. Lucid just isn't ramping up at all. It's 4%. It's nothing. However, revenue declined 9%. No one's buying the cars. I've done my research. They're sat on parking lots. They're sat on the used cars aren't selling either due to product mix changes, but with an improved gross margin due to lower impairment charges. Lucid adjusted its production outlook to 6,000 to 8,500 vehicles, down from the initial guidance of more than 10,000. So they're downgrading the guidance, citing inventory management, not production capacity, as the reason. Inventory management. Peter Rawlinson gets a bonus. Don't understand this. Don't understand it at all. The balance, as I say, for me, it looks like the company's intentionally trying to go private and destroy the stock price. The balance sheet remains strong with 4.9 billion in cash. No doubt about it. We'll come on to that in a minute. And investments expected sufficient liquidity through to 2025. Capital expenditure for 2023 are projected at 1 billion to 1.1 billion, signaling continued investment in growth. Okay, let's scroll on down. Let's look at the financials. Now, we can see over the most recent range, we're down 8%. But estimates, we're expecting it to go up. We've had estimates like this for ages, consistently saying it's going to be great in the future. However, keep missing, as you can see in our history. So to me, again, lots of information saying it's going to be great in the future, but we never seem to move towards the future. It just keeps getting put out all the time. For me, the signal is it's going to go private and Peter Rawlinson will just walk off with all the money. That's what I think. Operating income is down 2%, but we're expecting that to improve steadily in the future, okay? Net income is also down 3%. Free cash flow, on the other hand, is up 4%, but it's been down dramatically. It's only a very slight increase. Capital expenditure, we're spending a bit less money, 10%. That's good news. Operating cash flow, up 2%. That's good news, but very, very small considering how much we've been losing. All right, the balance sheet. Now, this company's always been about the balance sheet, where the cash comes from, who's funding it. That's great, but we hold cash, but the cash doesn't make any money. Anyone can have a load of money, stick it in the bank, and it makes some money. We got cash. Half of our money, half of our assets is literally in cash, which is great to have cash. It's great to have a balance sheet. However, the cash is supposed to be invested to make the business grow. The business isn't growing. The business is crawling along like a snail. No one's buying the cars, and the CEO is just taking all the benefits. I don't understand this business. It doesn't make sense to me. 8.9 billion in assets, loads of funding coming in, just sticking it in a pot and earning interest, it seems. 3.5 billion liabilities. Well, that's good. So the balance sheet is good. Yes, we hold cash. However, we've been holding cash for ages, but the business isn't doing anything. So what about long-term debt? Well, here's a bit more of the reality. We hold 58% of our liabilities in debt. Why aren't we using this cash to pay down our debts? I don't know. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of companies hold debt. They can make more money on their cash, which suggests to me they're holding cash just to earn money on the cash, investing the cash. Whatever they're doing with the cash, they're just investing in it and they're making money on the cash. They're not building the business. The business doesn't seem to grow. It just seems, again, to be a cash cow for Peter Rawlinson. I don't get it. If we look at the margins looked for a while like they might be improving, but actually they're getting worse again. Operating margin, net margin, FCF margin, I thought everything was supposed to be improving. We're not really seeing the ROE. Nothing's really improving. It's just going sideways. Profitability, 21%. The profitability score is 21%. We're making no money on these cars. In fact, we're losing money. We're losing $500,000 every time we sell a car. How can this continue? The Solvency Score is showing 46%. Everything looks pretty good there. It's not green, but you wouldn't expect it to be green. It's a relatively new company. However, with the cash it's got, why isn't it doing better than this? It just seems to be underperforming. Again, why is the CEO getting bonuses for this performance? I don't understand it. If we look at Wall Street analysis, worst case scenario, they reckon it's going down another 16%. Best case scenario, up 35% to $4.88. I mean, that sounds great, but we've seen nothing. We've seen no benefits for over a year, and the risk is high. All we've got is a good balance sheet. All we've got is a well-funded pot of cash, but no one knows how to sell the cars and turn it into profit. That's what worries me. It just looks like a pot of money with really bad management. Anyway, Lucid, if we look at the best case scenario, $7.35. Again, sounds great, but when you think the stock price was $30 and now it's like $3.66, it's a penny stock. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's move on down, look at the competition. Ford, General Motors, and Rivian is coming up. And if you want access to my software, you can, and you can check the links and look at the balance sheets and the profits of these companies, and you can, do your own research. But Peter Rawlinson likes to say he's a Tesla. Let me just type that in for a moment. TSLA. Do it in real time. If we look at Tesla and we look at the profitability of the score, profitability score, look, 69%. This company actually make profit. They know how to turn, a quality vehicle into profit. It's a very different structure. Look, 90% solvency and 69%. That's a real business. And again, I don't own Tesla. I'm just making the point of the difference between the companies. They just hold a load of cash. That seems to be all they do. Now, insiders, this is some good news. In the last 12 months, we've seen $1.8 billion of stock being bought in US dollars. That's very, very good. Public investment fund. This is what everyone talks about. The Saudis are going to take this private. We're seeing big lumps of money coming into this company, being held in the company, and yet the company isn't growing. It's going to go private. Peter Rawlinson's going to end up being like, a king of Saudi Arabia or something, and sitting there with his money living in the desert. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, scrolling on down, 23% the stock is being shorted. Still at this level, we've got people short in the stock. Which is excessive. This is short squeeze territory, but the stock needs to be bought to have a short squeeze. If it's just being driven down and no one's buying it, everyone's just shorting it, it's just going to go down. For a short squeeze, you need volume in the uptrend. People buying it. People aren't buying it. They're just shorting it and selling it. So I don't know where the short squeeze is going to come from. Let's now look at the sentiment of the stock. Over the last 90 days, the sentiment has been 32% positive, 52 negative. Over the last 30 days, it's slightly more positive news. Negative has dropped to 43. Last 7 days, 40% negative. And today, we've got 40% negative. So we're getting more positive news, but still a lot of negative news around this stock. It's a mixed bag right now. Now, let's go and look at how it's performed with the S&P and how it's performed against Tesla as well. It's very, very important to do that. All right, so let's go and have a look at that. So what do you think of this so far? Do you agree? Am I being unfair to Lucid? Is Peter Rawlinson doing himself any favors? Is it going private? What do you think? Have you looked over the numbers? Well, I'll let you decide. But let's now go and look at this last comparison here. Please do tap the like button or the down like. I don't mind what you do. Just do something. I don't mind. I'm not here to gain subscribers. What I am here to do is build the most honest, engaged channel on YouTube TV. If we look at the red, that's Lucid. Lucid has, as you can see, popped up. I beg your pardon. Yes, Lucid is in red. Had a massive rally. Lucid had a massive rally since 2021. Flew up and came straight back down again. That was all the false pumping, all the false information. Absolutely bloody awful. And now it's back down on the floor, lower than Tesla and lower than the S&P. But we had that massive rally there when it got manipulated with false information about all sorts of stuff coming in and the Saudis taking over and buying all this shares and anyway, whatever. I was covering at the time thinking this is ridiculous. False information flying around, never true. If it had been true, of course, the stock wouldn't have collapsed back down again. And I took all the flack for reporting that and people didn't like it, but there it is. It's back on its arse again. We look at Tesla. Tesla didn't have that false information, that nonsense where suddenly everything is great and now it's not. It was doing well. It was following the S&P and now it's dropped below the S&P. We've had some downplay in the EV sector, no question about it. And in blue, you can see the S&P just doing what the S&P does. This is since 2021. So, only a few years, but that's as far back as we can go because of Lucid. But there you go. You can see this false pump, false information, and then all fall away. So what do you think? I mean, please share with me your opinions. I know I'll get a lot of heat for this, but I don't care. It's not. I'm not trying to get views, not trying to get subscribers. I'm just trying to build the most honest channel. Do you agree that Peter Rawlinson should be paid this huge amounts of money when he cannot sell the cars or cannot produce them and cannot lower the ramp them up and reduce costs and the whole thing about. When he talks on earnings, he talks about the car's worth $200,000 and it doesn't matter if we sell any, we're building a brand. Who does that remind you of? Well, that sounds exactly like FFIE, Future Faraday. They said the same thing. We don't have to sell cars, we're building a brand, and now look at the company, it's about to go bankrupt. So, will Lucid go bankrupt? Well, this is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to go private, the shareholders will get nothing, and it'll all be owned by the Saudis in the desert, and Peter Rawlinson will be sat there like the king of Saudi Arabia with a big crown on his head and all the money in his pocket, and we'll all be sitting around going, well, what happened there then? Such a shame. Great car, was never going to make any money for the shareholders. Let's see if I'm right. Look back on this in a year. And of course, tomorrow night is the earnings. And if we get a lot of reviews, a lot of comments and likes or dislikes, I don't mind. A lot of engagement on the channel. I may cover the earnings tomorrow night. We'll see how it all pans out. Anyway, leave me your thoughts. Click above my head if you want the software that I use. My members can get it for free using my links or a premium service, which will basically make my membership for free with a discount you get. Thank you, EJM, for subscribing to my channel and making this live. And look below in the description for more links and social media links and all the rest of it. And over here, I'll put all my reviews and other things you might find interesting. Also, just below me is my link to my music channel. I'm actually the World Piano Man. No, I'm not a YouTuber. I've toured the world as an entertainer. I'm here to build an audience based upon real people, not subscribers. People who watch my show, they engage with me live up to 10 hours a day. Go and check it all out. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.